Good evening, everyone. I'm Matthew Mattos, headmaster of Taunton High School, and I would like to welcome all of you to the 71st Annual Induction Ceremony of the National Honor Society. We are here to celebrate the remarkable academic, social, and civic achievements of our most outstanding students by inducting 110. Yes, that is a huge number that we are very proud of. 110. 110 new members into the Taunton High School chapter of the National Honor Society. At this time, I now ask that everyone please stand for the presentation of the colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. I would now like to call Deanna Duffy, a member of the National Honor Society, and the Select Chorus to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated, everyone. If I could please ask if we could take a moment to silence our cell phones, please. Thank you for that. Once again, very special thank you to Melissa Andrade and Deanna Duffy for the pledge and the national anthem. Excellent job. As we will see this evening, this is a student-led, student-driven event, and we take great pride in all the students who are up here on stage and all the students who are in the audience tonight. I would now like to introduce the student, staff, and dignitaries on stage, beginning with our Assistant Headmaster, Mrs. Kristen Keenan. Our Associate Headmasters, in order of their alphabetical caseload, Mr. Matthew Bertrand, Mr. Eric Lefebvre, Mrs. Jamie Pereira, and Mr. Joseph Pomfret. The advisors of the National Honor Society, Mrs. Andrews is waiting in the back. And Miss Sarah Gibson. The officers of the National Honor Society, President Cameron Lee, Vice President Alexander Pereira, Secretary Victoria Gravel, Treasurer Melissa Andrade, Historian Alicia Alfama, and Community Service Coordinator Hans de Guzman. Our State Representative and Mayor-elect of the City of Taunton, Shauna O'Connell. Our Acting Mayor, City Council President, Jeffrey Postel. Superintendent of Schools, Mr. John Cabral. And we have school committee members, Mrs. Christine Fagan, Mr. David Souza, and Mr. Gregory DeMello. Not able to make it this evening from the school committee, Mrs. Josephine Almeida, Ms. Carol Doherty, Mr. Jordan Fiore, Mr. Joseph Martin, and Mr. Cahal O'Brien. Oh, Cahal is here. I can't see you, Cahal. Lean forward. There you are. I would now like to ask our acting mayor of the City of Taunton, City Council President Jeffrey Postel, to come to the podium to say a few words to our inductees.
Thank you, Mr. Mattis, and I now know what it's like following you at the end of graduation because the microphone's really high and I'm a little shorter than he is. I did see, just really quickly, City Councilor and former Superintendent Gerald Croto in the audience. He snuck in on us, so welcome, Dr. Croto. Well, good evening, and on behalf of the City of Taunton, welcome and congratulations to you and your families on your induction into the National Honor Society. Each of you should be proud of your demonstrated excellence in the classroom through academics, your service and care for others, along with strong leadership and character. You have not only represented yourself proudly, but your families, the faculty and staff of the Taunton Public School System, and this entire community. Through your induction tonight, you have earned the distinct honor and privilege of joining over 1 million students nationwide as members of the National Honor Society. You join a society that has inducted members such as baseball legend and Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr., Taylor Swift, and former First Lady Michelle Obama. Through your successes, you are now future ready. Continue to dedicate and devote yourself to your studies, your personal and professional development, your community, and never forget where you have come from and those that have helped develop, shape, and guide you along the way. Again, on behalf of the City of Taunton, congratulations, and we expect more great things to come from each of you.
At this time, I would like to invite our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. John Cabral, to address the inductees.
I'm also vertically challenged, so bear with me. Thank you, Mr. Matos. Thank you, Taunton High staff, parents, guardians, and especially the students. I apologize if I'm a little flustered this evening. Just had a conversation with my daughter. So being the superintendent and having children in the school system isn't always easy. So my daughter came home very upset today, and she was telling me about a conversation she had in class with the student, and I was trying to do my best to console her, but she pretty much was telling me that there were kids in class telling her that the superintendent, or the kids were talking about the superintendent. So kids in class was talking about how the superintendent's a dummy, the superintendent doesn't know what he's doing. Why would the superintendent have a delayed start when we didn't have power and when we had trees down? So my daughter, I'll give her credit, she stuck up for herself and she spoke up. And she looked at the kids and said, "You know who I am, right?" And the kids looked at my daughter and they kind of had a bewildered look and they said, "No." Well, my daughter then kind of asserted herself and looked at him real firmly and she said, "My dad is the superintendent." There was an awkward pause and awkward looks. And then the kids looked at my daughter and said, "Do you know who we are?" My daughter said no, and then they walked out of the room. I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but I'm always grateful and thankful to have an opportunity to talk to students and to talk to the parents and guardians of our great students. And I do mean that, great students. This morning, Mr. Matos and I had a chance to turn back the clock, and we got to teach today. We were able to participate in a youth forum in New Bedford today with students from New Bedford, Fall River, Brockton, and Taunton High School, and talking about leadership skills. And we're here today, and we're recognizing students for scholarship, service, character, and leadership. And those are the 4 characteristics that we look for for students when they are inducted into the National Honor Society. So scholarship, what does scholarship mean? It's learning on a high level, no academic study or achievement. Having scholarship or demonstrating scholarship demonstrates that you're open to challenges, that you have a passion for learning, and you have a growth mindset. You know the areas that you need to improve, and you work hard and you strive daily to improve those areas. Very proud of the service that you have put forward and demonstrated to bring you to this point this evening. Service is the action of helping others, putting the needs of others first. You are developing other leaders and demonstrating by example. You're not afraid to give up power or authority when you are service-minded, and you say, "Let's do it," versus, "No, you do it." You think of you versus thinking of me. When you demonstrate character, you're demonstrating the complex attributes that determines a person's morals and ethical actions and reactions. Now, to be a person of character means you have a solid reputation. You avoid behaviors that are considered negative. You demonstrate strength, which means you stand for what's right, and you stand by your convictions and what you believe in. But most importantly, when it comes to leadership, you demonstrate the art of motivating a group of people to act towards achieving a common goal. You are resilient, which means you don't give up easily. You are flexible, which means you have the ability to work with others and adjust on the fly. You have strong communication skills, or the ability to articulate your point of view. You have courage. You're not afraid to fail or take risks. You demonstrate humility. You don't take yourself serious, but you take your work serious. And you are responsible. You can be trusted and you can be counted on. So before I close tonight, I just want to share a quick quote with you regarding leadership. And someone that I admire and someone I enjoy reading is Simon Sinek, the author of Start With Your Why. So the true price of leadership is the willingness to place the needs of others before your own. Great leaders truly care about those they are privileged to lead and understand that the true cost of the leadership privilege comes at the expense of self-interest. Again, congratulations to you and to your families, and enjoy this evening. And I am proud to serve as your superintendent.
Now the world is right when Mrs. Andrews gets back on the stage. We can continue. Thank you, Mr. Cabral, for that. And now please join me in welcoming Cahal O'Brien to speak on behalf of the school committee. Cahal?
Hi, I just want to thank Mr. O'Brien for letting me come up here and say a couple of words to all of you. As a grandmother who has a grandson here today, and Mr. O'Brien has his daughter here, this is a real thrill. It's just as thrilling as when my own kids got in there. And I also want to say one thing. This will be Mr. O'Brien's last visit to here as a school committee member. He chose not to run this time. He wanted to spend more time with his family. So I want you all to give him a round of applause. He's been a wonderful friend, a great school committee member. And I, for one, am going to deeply miss him because he's got a warm sense of humor that sometimes just breaks all the tension in the room. So I hope that broke the tension for you so you can get up and say something nice. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words, Ms. Fagan. I also want to give a special congratulations to Mayor-elect O'Connell. Her daughter will be coming up behind my daughter, Sophie, as they always do alphabetically like they did the other night at DECA. Thank you for the kind words. And on behalf of the Taunton School Committee, this is one of our favorite nights of the year. You're the students, the young adults, who choose to do the right thing when nobody's looking. It's a very important night for you just to be recognized, and also it's a placeholder for you as you get older. Several of us on the stage were NHS members when we were teens, and we probably didn't realize the significance. When we come to events like this evening, we start to remember and realize, hey, we were good kids once. And life is full of challenges. You're going to have failures and mess-ups, and you're also going to have changes in careers and attitudes. But it's always nice to be able to look back and say, as you became a young adult and you started making the right decisions, you were doing it for the right reasons. And over 100 students are here this evening. Mr. Mattos and his team do a wonderful job encouraging having connected students. They're better students, and you're the leaders in the school. You all have athletic and artistic activities in addition to other extracurriculars. I'm not a speech major. And then you also have good grades, and you have good character traits. You're the real leaders of any community you end up in, whether you stay in Taunton or move on. And we just want to congratulate you. It's not very often that the school committee, oftentimes they have meetings about budgets and policies and get into educanese. It's nice to physically see all of you with your parents and guardians and family members. Proud of you, excited about what you've done so far, and hoping that this is the beginning of a really exciting academic career. And it's just amazing to see this whole room full. You know, oftentimes you think about what teenagers do that causes us adults headaches, but you're the reason we all wake up in the morning, because it's the good kids that make a difference and make every day, you know, worth waking up to. So on behalf of all of us, I want to say thank you very much, and enjoy this evening. Congratulations.
I would now like to invite Cameron Lee to the podium for the President's Address.
Good evening. It is truly a pleasure to be here tonight to recognize each and every one of you who have exemplified true leadership and passion towards our community. I would like to offer my congratulations to the new inductees, as well as their parents, families, and friends, and anyone else who has had a hand in the success of these students. Based on the dedication to their academic and extracurricular pursuits, it is clear that there is a diverse, well-rounded group of fine students sitting in these seats before me. The students here have demonstrated hundreds of hours of hard work, patience, and drive to their studies. However, it takes a lot more than just scholarship to be here tonight. Not every student works tirelessly towards a sport or form of art or an instrument. Not every student volunteers at a local soup kitchen or nearby hospitals to aid the sick. And certainly, not every student excels in leadership, scholarship, service, and character. In recognizing a host of athletes, entertainers, writers, mathletes, and linguists, the one thing every student here shares is grit. It takes initiative to hone your interests and perseverance to execute them. As students in such a large school, it can be extremely difficult to stand out amongst the countless students who are your peers. To the students who cram to translate that last line of Latin for Mrs. Olette, or to the students who continuously write and revise that DBQ for Mr. Gillen, or to the students who look at Mr. Kelly like he has 5 heads while he demonstrates the laws of gravity and momentum. You are a source of great pride for our school because you enrich teachers with your ideas, coaches with your ambition, and administrators with your voice. Now, learning depends on curiosity, desire, and effort. Let's be honest, you can spot the students in front of me almost as easily as you can spot an 8th grader, based on 2 things: the bags under their eyes and the bags on their back. All of you have overcome some sort of obstacle in your pursuits to make yourselves known as individuals with a true passion for a social and academic education. This induction tonight serves as both your congratulations on behalf of everyone here, as well as a reminder that there is no limit in sight. All of you have proven that you have the capability and dynamism to make both this community and the world a better place. And it is for you to take up the mantle of the National Honor Society and carry on the good name of this organization. In ELA, we learned the 3 W's: the what, the who, and the why. Students seldom forget the what: the club, the sport, the grades, the organization. But what's more important is the why. Why it makes you happy and why you pour hours and hours of hard work into that activity. It is easy to get immersed in the lives of others, but now, especially when opportunities and doors are opening one after another, it is crucial to pave the path you desire and remember the reward for being yourself. Never forget your worth, because that is what sets you apart. You are all an asset inside and outside of the classroom in this ever-changing world. Make yourselves a promise to always remember and value the lessons you've been taught, which include honesty, integrity, and kindness. As the years of high school unfold, never lose your dependability and creativity. You are all extremely special, not because of what you wear, what kind of car you drive, or even what your grades are. You are special because you care. You take what was once conventional and transform that, with your own youthful element, into something better. Please be the role model that the National Honor Society strongly encourages, and be proud for how far you've come. Thank you. I'd now like to invite our Vice President, Alex Pereira, to the podium.
Hi, good evening. So every year, the Taunton High School National Honor Society welcomes its new members with a carefully selected guest speaker. These speakers exemplify the very characteristics our members are beginning to demonstrate themselves. In thinking about a member of our community who personifies the National Honor Society values of scholarship, service, leadership, and character, we do not have to look far. Dr. Martin Dias's connection to the Taunton High School runs deep. Martin Dias grew up in Taunton and graduated from Taunton High School. A member of the class of 1989, he was an honors student and a natural leader. His classmates remember him as an independent thinker and a person of integrity and character. Flipping through his yearbook, you can see Martin's influence everywhere. He was a member of the Student Advisory Council, an Old Colony League football all-star, and was voted most spirited by his classmates. And yes, he was also a member of the National Honor Society. Martin was also a tremendously accomplished student athlete, a 2-way lineman, and a tri-captain of the 1988 Old Colony League championship football team. Martin was the first Taunton High School student to win the prestigious Otto Graham Award, an honor bestowed on the best high school football player in southeastern Massachusetts. Martin's high school accomplishments propelled him from the Taunton to an Ivy League, where he earned a bachelor's degree in economics from the elite Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. He later earned his MBA from Babson College and a doctorate in the information systems from Bentley University. Hard work, family, and faith are in Martin's DNA, and he worked his way up the corporate ladder, rising from a summer intern at the State Street Corporation to assistant vice president. After a distinguished career at a State Street, Martin made the transition to life in higher education. He is currently associate teacher professor of the Supply Chain Information Management at Northeastern University and faculty director of the full-time MBA program at the DeMoore McKim School of Business at Northeastern. While his educational and professional accomplishments are remarkable, his community and personal contributions are just as impressive. Dr. Diaz served as the youth director at the Baptist Church of All Nations in Taunton for nearly 10 years and is still heavily involved in church life. Together with his wife, Nico, he has 4 daughters, all members of the Tiger Nation, past and present, all accomplished young ladies, one of whom is being inducted tonight. You know who you are. As members of the National Honor Society, we ourselves are charged with maintaining the values of scholarship, character, service, and leadership. And it's through these inspiring examples of alumni, like Dr. Diaz, that we may realize this goal. But before I ask Dr. Diaz to begin his keynote address, Mr. Matos has a special message for Dr. Diaz from another member of the Taunton High School National Honor Society, class of 1989.
Dr. Dias, if you could please come up here with me.
That figures. Sir.
Stand right over here.
I'll stand right over here.
So as we've mentioned, Dr. Dias is a huge part of the Taunton High School community. So knowing that he was going to be speaking this evening, I reached out to a couple of his former friends and former teammates on that football team, and they have a nice little message for Dr. Dias.
Hey, Martin Dias, it's your old friend Eric DaCosta, and I was asked to talk a little bit about you, and I was happy to do it. And as you know, you and I kind of grew up together, went to high school at Taunton High together, played football together, captains of the 1988 Old Colony League championship team, and also together in the National Honor Society. And I have to think back, there's probably no one that I respect more, anyone more well-grounded than you. Smart, phenomenal leader, really somebody for everyone else to kind of look at and emulate. Always did everything exactly the right way. Awesome athlete. We ran track together as well and had a great experience together growing up. But there's one thing when I think about Martin Dias that I think really speaks to who you are. Kind of a funny story. And it goes back to Otis Air Force Base, where we had our preseason practices every year. And if I'm not mistaken, we had 2 or 3 roommates at camp. And I believe your roommates were Johnny Montero and Troy Enos. And I remember a crazy story about Coach Lane walking in to your room. And you guys were all sitting on your beds. And Troy Enos was reading Sports Illustrated. Johnny Montero was reading Playboy, and you were on the bed reading the Bible. And I think that story really encapsulates who you are and you as a person. So congrats on this honor, speaking to the National Honor Society at Taunton High School, and really proud of you and everything you stand for. Congrats on a great career, and hopefully I get a chance to talk to you soon. Thank you.
Good evening. I understand that I need to keep this relatively short. Given the 2 intros that I just received, we basically cut about 8 minutes into my 10-minute time. So I have about 2 minutes to actually encourage and hopefully motivate you for the future that you're going to face. It will take a little bit longer than 2 minutes, but I promise not to be long. I usually like to do a little warm-up. I'm a professor, and so usually students come in and they're not really interested in being in the group, in the session. So I usually like to warm up. I like to get to know the audience a little bit. So I'm going to ask you to vote. Just going to vote with your hand. Just going to raise your hand so I can get a sense of who is actually in the audience. You must vote. There is no abstaining. You must vote. Be a leader. Take a choice. No abstaining. Dog person or cat person? Dog person or cat person? Raise your hand. Dog person, raise your hand. Put your hands down. Cat person, raise your hand. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm a dog person. I will also vote. Mustard or ketchup? Mustard or ketchup? Mustard or ketchup? Mustard? Oh, more hands now? Wow, okay. Ketchup. Okay, very good. Put your hands down. Snack food. Vital topic. Snack food. Honey Nut Cheerios or popcorn? Oh. Your favorite, whatever your favorite is. Okay? Honey Nut Cheerios or popcorn. Honey Nut Cheerios. Put your hands down. Favorite flavor popcorn. Okay, you guys watch too much TV. Awesome. Last question, and maybe the most controversial of them all, and you can only answer this question if you actually have your phone either on your lap or in your hand right now. So if it's tucked away, don't get it. If it's tucked away, don't get it. Only if it's in your hand, on your lap, physically right with you. iPhone versus Android. iPhone versus Android. If you have an iPhone, raise it in the air. If it's in your hand. If it's in your hand, raise it up. If it's in your hand, raise it up. If it's in your hand, raise it up. Put it down. Android, only if it's in your hand. Raise it up, raise it up, raise it up, raise it up. Awesome, put it down. So all of that was just a setup to see who was not going to be listening to me while I was speaking. Sorry for the trick question. All right, so now that we're here, as you know, Taunton High School focuses a great deal of attention on being a connected student. And for you, you might be wondering why so much focus on being a connected student. Lots of statistics about your generation, Generation Z, being the most connected yet feeling the most isolated generation since we've been tracking the number of isolation. So it's a little bit of a paradox. I want you to think about 3 words. 2 of them you've actually heard. 3 principles that are the trifecta for turning into a successful student, having been a connected student. You've already heard about grit. Cameron actually brought that word up. You've heard growth mindset. Our Superintendent Cabral brought that up. I'm just going to add one more word, and that is gratitude. When business researchers study what makes a more successful, more adaptive professional, it's those 3 principles that play themselves out. Grit, gratitude, and growth mindset. Statistically speaking, Generation Z was born sometime after 1997. Many people start that clock maybe around 2000, but Pew Research starts it in 1997. Your generation is more concerned about anxiety and depression than you are bullying and drug addiction and poverty and gangs. Your generation also is much less likely to work than older generations. Now you're young, but even at your age, I mean. Your generation is also very, very focused on getting good grades. Even more so, and you in the National Honor Society would be happy to hear this, than looking good and fitting in socially. And I'm sure Mr. Mattis is very happy to hear that too. But you're also more concerned about getting good grades than you are about being involved in extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities are like number 4 on the list. So that's part of being a connected student, just something for you to be aware of. Most teens say that having a job or career that they enjoy will be extremely important to them as adults. So if you want the kind of a job that you're going to enjoy, that means you have to put the time in now from a grit, gratitude, and growth mindset perspective. Because otherwise, you will still have a job, but it just won't be the kind of job that you actually enjoy. So these 3 words, grit, as Cameron has said, perseverance and passion for long-term goals. I will give you just enough, but not enough. You will be unsatisfied with my discussion, and you will want more. If you want more about grit, then go look up the name Angela Duckworth, who actually is a professor at the University of Pennsylvania where I graduated, which she focuses most of her attention on grit and helping people better understand how to pull it off in real time. So I have a story. It's 1989, and I am applying to the University of Pennsylvania, where, by the way, I will eventually meet my future wife. I get a call from the admissions office. They tell me that this particular year it's very challenging for students to get into the Wharton School of Business, and I might want to consider applying to one of the other colleges. I respectfully responded, my intention is to come to your business school, and if I am not good enough to get in, then I do not wish to come. Perseverance with passion for some long-term goal. I received the call, I answered with grit, and the rest is history. Now I want you to take 30 seconds to talk to the person sitting next to you about one circumstance that you've engaged where you actually demonstrated grit. You have 30 seconds, go. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1. Now I want you to understand the future that you're going to face is going to be very challenging. When I was your age, we did not have email. We did not have the web as we know it. We did have the internet, although it wasn't publicly facing as the web is now. So we did not have email, we did not have the web, and we did not have smartphones. We had corded phones that you had to answer because it would just keep ringing if you didn't. So I want you to think about how Taunton High School could have prepared me for the future when the things I would use on a daily basis had not been invented yet. Victory goes to the adapters. So during that 30 seconds, if you elected to sort of shut down and not actually engage your neighbor, I want you to think about whether or not you're preparing yourself for the future you're going to face. If you couldn't actually think about a circumstance where you actually demonstrated grit, I want you to think about whether or not you're ready for the future that you're going to face. Your faculty members here are going to prepare you to think certain ways. Not necessarily what to think, but how to think, critically, strategically, creatively, because they don't want the robot to come and take your job. But if you didn't have enough fortitude and assertiveness to even do the one little 30-second thing I just asked you to do, maybe you need to think about reading up on grit through Angela Duckworth. No judgment. I know it's tough. I know it's been a long day. I know many of you, a little social interaction is a very awkward thing, a very painful thing, and very expensive. I'm an extrovert. I don't have that problem. But I know some of you do. But it is something you're going to have to overcome because your passions and your goals are going to drive you to that. All right, I'll go a little faster. Gratitude. This is a positive emotional state triggered by an appraisal or valuation of someone or something beneficial. Gratitude. I will tell you a little bit, but not enough. You will not be satisfied. If you want to do additional research, go off and look up Adam Grant, who also happens to be a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, as it turns out. So gratitude. What researchers have discovered about gratitude, and I'm not going to tell you and wag my finger at you, you need to be more grateful for your parents and your teachers. I won't do that, I promise. But two things about gratitude that actually help you to be a more successful person. First, gratitude gives you more positive outlook on what's taking place around you. Your generation has more anxiety and depression. And part of what's going on there is that you're not experiencing mindfulness about what's happening in the real time. You're very concerned about the social media posts of that perfect life, someone living the Instagrammable life. You obviously know that nobody lives an Instagrammable life. That's not reality. You actually know it's not reality, and yet it still has an effect on you. You're the leaders. We need you to overcome somebody else's fake Instagrammable life. So gratitude helps you not worry about someone else's Instagrammable life and help you live your own personal life. But it also tends to give you hope for the future. People who are grateful think about the future. People who are depressed and anxious, they think a lot about the past, and they get very, very nervous about the future, and they don't have hope. A lack of hope creates desperation, and desperation will shut you down. So a little bit of gratitude goes a long way. Another story. It's 2011. And I'm way in over my head from a professional perspective. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to successfully transition from school back into work. And our family has been on public assistance now for the prior 4 years. So I'm feeling a little nervous. I get a call from my boss. She has indicated to me that this transition is going to be very, very challenging. And I better tap into my network to make sure that I successfully get to transition. At that moment, I had the decision to make. I could think about the past, I could get very nervous about the future, or I could simply, with gratitude, say, thank you very much for that advice, and do what she told me to do. Of course, I responded with gratitude. I did what she told me to do. I answered the call with gratitude, and ended up at Northeastern University. Now I want you to take 30 seconds to talk about one thing that you're grateful for. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. More of you are talking. Now, I do feel bad for those of you who are actually sitting in the front row here because you actually don't have anyone to talk to. So somebody please come and join them. We're done with the talking to each other, as it turns out, but I didn't want them to feel alone. All right. Last of our trifecta for transitioning from a connected student to a successful student is growth mindset. Now, growth mindset actually views struggle as a learning opportunity. Failure is to be anticipated and is to be learned from. It is not to be avoided. So you don't cheat to get a better grade because you realize that you're cheating yourself of a learning opportunity. We don't look to say, well, gee, I'm not immediately good at something and therefore it must not be for me. We recognize the fact that struggle is actually a valuable thing. I'm actually learning when I first don't know something, otherwise I'm not actually learning anything. It will help you to persevere, it will help you to be expansive, it will help you to be an adapter. So a growth mindset is, someone who has a growth mindset is the kind of person who is going to win in the future economy because you will be an adapter, because you will be a lifelong learner. We're counting on you to solve some of the problems, unfortunately, that we're dumping on you. You have my apologies. But we need you to adapt. As I said earlier, the very tools that you will work with as a professional have not even been invented yet. That's the advancement of technology. So we're expecting you to be able to adapt. You're very good at pushing buttons, as it turns out, so I have no doubt that you'll be successful. Last story. It's now 2019. I'm in the dean's office, and they're asking me to take on some more responsibilities. I'm completely overwhelmed. I definitely do not think I can handle these things. I realize I will definitely fail at doing what they ask me to do. I answer the call. I say yes. I actually don't know how that one's going to turn out because it's only November. So of course I may still fail. But as I fail along the way, I'm going to take advantage of the learning opportunities. So, in closing, when you get a call, respond with grit. Persevere in the face of challenge. When you get a call, respond with gratitude. Have a positive emotional state of appraisal that recognizes the benefits. When you get a call, respond with a growth mindset. Press on through the struggle as it is a learning opportunity. Grit, gratitude, growth mindset. Trifecta for making a connected student be a successful student. Thank you for your time. More time? Oh, good grief.
Thank you, Dr. Diaz. On behalf of the National Honor Society, we would like
I'd like
to
to present you with a token of our appreciation. We will now begin the formal induction ceremony. Amazing. So I do have one more thing to say. You might have actually seen me grimace, and I did ask Ms. Matthews if it was okay for me to say this. She gave me permission. I always check. She was our class president, by the way, so I've been checking in with her for like 30 years. First round for National Honor Society, I was actually not inducted. I was chronically tardy, chronically so. And so if you see me up here grimacing every time someone says character, 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 that's what I got dinged at, actually. So I was rejected the first round because I was too late and I was deemed a character problem. Second round in, I actually did make it through because I made a change. So I do want to let you know second chances are a real thing, and it's okay. Character does matter, and I'm glad I got non-inducted the first round through. But I'm glad you're getting inducted today. Congratulations.
We will now begin the formal induction ceremony.
Membership in the Taunton High School chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by a successful demonstration of 4 qualities held in high esteem by the society. We call these qualities the 4 pillars. We will now review these qualities and light the candle representing them, beginning with the eternal light of knowledge.
Scholarship. Scholarship is a commitment to learning. It means a student is willing to spend hours reading and studying, endeavoring to enjoy the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. True scholars continue to learn even when their formal education has ended, for education is a lifelong pursuit. Knowledge may lead to success, but it can be acquired only through diligence and effort. Learning lights the lamp by which we read the past and ignites the possibilities of the future. Our candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship. Now I will light the candle for scholarship.
Leadership. Leaders exert a positive influence on the school. True leaders take the initiative in class and in school and community activities, despite the fact that the price of leadership is sometimes sacrifice. The willingness to yield one's personal welfare for the benefit of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist, these are ineffective without the guidance of a wise leader. Thoughtful leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is an essential charge to each of our members. Now, I will light the candle for leadership.
Character. Character is the force within each individual which distinguishes that person from others. Without true character, one cannot develop self-respect nor earn the respect of others. It is the force of character that guides one through life's successes and struggles. Character is achieved, not received. It is the product of constant action, the daily striving to make the right choices, to practice self-control, and to live with integrity. Our members are charged to demonstrate such qualities as reliability, honesty, and sincerity, proving by example that we value character. Now I would light the candle for character.
Service. Service can be described in various ways. In the routine of the day's work, many opportunities arise to help others. Willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation and without recognition is a quality we seek in our membership. We are committed to the idea of volunteering our time and talents to the creation of a better tomorrow. Our candidates have the change to continually give back to their community. Now I will light the candle for service.
I would now like to call upon our associate headmasters to introduce the inductees to the National Honor Society. As they are called, new members will sign their names in the official National Honor Society membership book to acknowledge their accomplishments and record their date of induction. Please hold your applause until the end, once all the names have been read, and then we will give a round of applause to all the inductees. And it begins with Mr. Bertrand. Mr. Bertrand, please come to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Matos. A lot to be proud of this evening for our students, our families. It's a really special night, and I'm gratified to be a part of it. So with that being said, I'd like to start introducing our nominees. First is Manor Abbas. Jordan Abu Yazbek. Carly Acord. Hannah Aldrich. Thomas Ambrose. Jillian Andre. Spencer Andrews. Rook Bazinet. Tara Biloli. Haley Benjamin. Ryan Benner. Emily Bent. Janaba Bernard. Rebecca Berry. Shaheem Blue. Thomas Bobarujan. Kayla Botello. Jolisa Brandeo. Hunter Cabral. Caden Cabral. Chloe Cambra. Emma Campbell. Rebecca Candido. Isabel Salucci. Kaisha Charles Mark. Kyla Cook. Martin DeFave. Victoria DeRosa. I'll now be turning the proceedings over to our B House Associate Headmaster, Eric Lefebvre.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. Megan Dakuda. Sarah Dennis. Alexandra DeVoe. Olivia Dias. Paige Doman. Isabella Doyle. Halima Duart. Ella Dunderdale. Cassie Dussault. Sydney Edwards. Trevor Emma. Colton Fagan. Aquina Fisher. Evan Francis. Mackenzie Garcia. Jeremy Gay. Marissa Gay. Allison Gabel. Gianna Gilmore. Noah Gravel. Ashton Gunter. Kendall Handrahan. Stella Hathaway. Kristen Herold. Brooklyn Hausman. Shayna German. Rachel Joseph. Apoma Khan. Isabella Kiker. At this time, I turn the podium over to Mrs. Jamie Pereira.
Alexander LaCourse. Daniel LaCourse. Anastasia LaJoy. Al Monroe Lehman. Daniel McDougall. Mark Marvel. Mackenzie McAloon. Jack McGonigal. Rosemary McGrath. Lauren Miller. Camden Mullen. Isabella Neely. Brady Nichols. Skyla Nicole. Christiana Noguera. Nicholas Notarangelo. Travis Nunes. Tyler Nunes. Sophie O'Brien. Michael Obiama. Ashton O'Connell. Emily O'Gara. Anastasia Ortiz. Jocelyn Paliuka. Isabella Pilares. Ethan Pepoli. Claire Peetnick. I would now like to call Mr. Joseph Pomfret to the podium.
Delaney Rasmussen. Skylar Rayum. Madison Richards. Catherine Robinson. Ana Rodriguez. Nashley Rodriguez Cruz. Aiden Scully. Alexis Sequeira. Faith Sheehan. Victor Siminel. Alana Tavares. Nolan Tavares. Juliana Therian. Nolan Tomashiki. Jeremy Turcott. Megan Tuig. Lily Velkovic. Madison Vigliotti. Brian Volpe. Mackenzie Wallace. Camila Watts. Olivia Weber. Kelsey White. Connor Whittinger. And Morgan Zakshevsky. Congratulations, National Honor Society.
So I know it may seem a bit awkward to hold applause, but myself, Mrs. Andrews, and Mr. Jakes have timed it, and it actually saves 48 minutes on tonight's ceremony. So thank you very much. I know you all want that 48 minutes back. I now ask that all current members of the National Honor Society please come forward to the area in front of the stage. Our current members, please come forward. Now would all of our new members please come to the stage and join our current members in the front of the auditorium. I will now lead all members in the National Honor Society Pledge. I pledge to uphold Ladies and gentlemen, you have before you the entire National Honor Society of Taunton High School. If we could please be seated. Thank you. Please be seated. What's up? Yeah. Yep. I would just like to make a few quick comments. This evening is a very special one for our inductees and all of our family members and the entire Taunton High School community. We are psyched to celebrate this event with all of you. And now I would ask that our members of the National Honor Society please give your families a round of applause for being here with you this evening. As you know, as we know, the mission statement of Taunton High School is academic excellence, social responsibility, and civic pride. This mission drives everything that we do here at Taunton High School, and tonight's inductees are brilliant illustrations of that mission. In fact, I suppose we can all say mission accomplished, so thank you very much for all of you. It has been accomplished in their ability to take initiative, lead with their peers with energy and passion, and to serve those in need wherever they may find them, to conduct themselves with integrity and treat others with dignity, and to earn the respect of their classmates, our faculty, and our entire community. They are model students and admirable young people, and they have made their mark on Tiger Nation. They are involved in nearly every club sport organization at Taunton High School, and they have won significant awards at the Science Fair, foreign language exams, DECA, Skills USA, ProStart competitions, the MICA Invitational, MET High School Theater Festival, and our athletic tracks, courts, fields, on the ice, and in the pool. Outside Taunton High School, these inductees have volunteered at Our Daily Bread, My Brother's Keeper, Coaching for Change, the Downtown Foundation, Pride Incorporated, the Old Colony Historical Museum, Citizens for Citizens, and the Taunton Opiate Task Force, and many other organizations too numerous to mention. They are active participants in their churches and temples and serve as mentors, tutors, and role models to children throughout our community. Every aspect of life at Taunton High School is enhanced by the talent and dedication of these wonderful students who prove on a daily basis that a connected student is truly a better student. They have committed themselves to scholarship, character, leadership, and service, and they have accomplished this with the tremendous support and guidance that they have received from all of you, their parents and family members. Together, the current members of the National Honor Society and tonight's inductees have made Tiger Nation extremely proud. We congratulate you, we thank you, and we welcome you to the National Honor Society. I would now like to call the Secretary of the National Honor Society, Victoria Gravel, to make some closing remarks. Victoria.
On behalf of the Taunton High School National Honor Society, we have many people to thank for our successes and the successes of this evening. I also want everybody to know that my verbal take is thank you, so this is both a blessing and a curse for me. Thank you to Mr. Cabral, Mr. Barada, and the school committee for our youthful skill, thoughtful, and compassionate leadership. Thank you to Mr. Matos and Mrs. Keenan for your unflagging support of us and every student in Tiger Nation, and for making Taunton High School a place we are proud to call ours. Thank you to Mr. Bertrand, Mr. Lefebvre, Mrs. Pereira, and Mr. Pomfret for all you do for us every day to support us and for being here to celebrate this important milestone. Thank you to our teachers, guidance counselors, and advisors for challenging us, cheering us, and giving us opportunities to develop our talents. Thank you, Dr. Dias, for being our honorary speaker, for inspiring us with your example. We owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to those who have worked behind the scenes to make tonight possible. Members of the Faculty Advisory Committee, Ms. Barbour, Mr. Bachman, Mrs. Menard, Mrs. Olette, and Dr. Silverstein, who have devoted many hours to evaluate the candidates. Ms. Donna Trucchi, who is the most organized person we know, and who always makes certain special events such as these truly special. So thank you, Mrs. Trucchi. Our culinary arts faculty and students for preparing the delicious desserts we are about to enjoy. And thank you to our advisors, Mrs. Andrews and Ms. Gibson, for their time and dedication in guiding us throughout the year and for making tonight's celebration possible. Above all, we must thank all of you, the family and friends gathered here tonight, who have loved, guided, and supported us in all of our endeavors. We are proof that no one achieves anything of significance alone, and we are grateful to all of you for everything you have done to help us reach our goals and achieve our dreams. To all of you, from all of us, thank you. And for the final word, Mr. Matos.
I would like to thank our dignitaries for being here this evening and also the staff of Taunton High School. On behalf of everyone here tonight, we congratulate the inductees and we look forward to your continued success. As with Dr. Dias, please come back and see us one of these years. We'd love to have you. Thanks to everyone for being here, and I want to emphasize that this is a student-driven event, so our officers have done a great job tonight with everything they've done, and please join us up in the cafeteria for some light refreshments. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great evening.